Welcome back to Morrow Shade. For most of us, school was supposed to be a safe place, somewhere predictable, boring even, but sometimes that safety is shattered in an instant. Tonight, I'm sharing two true stories about school lockdowns that went terribly wrong. These accounts were submitted by people who lived through experiences that still haunt them years later. Names and specific locations have been changed for privacy, but the events are real. Turn off your lights, and let's begin. This first story comes from Rachel, who was a junior in high school when this happened in 2018. It was a normal Tuesday afternoon in November. Rachel's chemistry class had just started, fourth period, right after lunch. Her teacher, Mr. Peterson, was writing equations on the board when the intercom crackled to life. But instead of the usual announcements, there was just breathing. Heavy breathing, like someone was running. Then, a voice. The school secretary, Mrs. Klein, but her voice was shaking. Lockdown. This is not a drill. Lockdown immediately. The intercom cut off. Mr. Peterson's face went pale. He'd been teaching for 20 years and had never heard a real lockdown announcement. He rushed to lock the classroom door, turned off the lights, and told everyone to get away from the windows. 32 students huddled in the corner of the room, between the lab tables and the back wall. Complete silence. Some kids were crying quietly, others were texting their parents. Rachel pulled out her phone. Group chats were blowing up. Nobody knew what was happening. Then, a text from her friend Jordan, whose classroom had a view of the parking lot. "There's a guy out there. He has something in his hands. Can't tell what it is." Rachel's heart pounded. She looked at Mr. Peterson. He was standing by the door, listening. His hands were shaking. 5 minutes passed, then 10. The silence was suffocating. Then they heard it. Footsteps in the hallway. Slow, deliberate footsteps. Not the quick, purposeful walk of a teacher or security guard. These were different, methodical. The footsteps stopped outside their door. The door handle rattled. Someone was trying to open it. Mr. Peterson pressed his back against the door, bracing it. A girl near Rachel started hyperventilating. Another student covered her mouth to muffle the sound. The handle rattled again, harder this time. Then, a voice from the other side of the door. Male, calm, almost cheerful. "I know you're in there." Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. "I can hear you." Mr. Peterson didn't respond. His eyes were wide, fixed on the door. The footsteps moved on, down the hall, trying other doors. They heard him try the room across the hall, then the one next to it. Each time, the same rattling of the handle, the same calm voice. "I know you're in there." This went on for what felt like hours, but was probably only 15 minutes. Then, sirens. Distant at first, then louder. Police. The footsteps in the hallway suddenly became frantic, running. Then nothing. 20 minutes later, the intercom came back on. The principal's voice, shaky but controlled. "The threat has been neutralized. Police are in the building. Remain in lockdown until an officer comes to your door." When police finally escorted them out, Rachel saw the parking lot filled with cop cars, ambulances, news vans. Parents were everywhere, crying, holding their kids. Here's what they found out later. A man had entered the school through an unlocked side entrance during lunch. He'd made it to the main office, which is why Mrs. Klein sounded terrified on the intercom. He was standing right there when she made the announcement. He wasn't armed, but he was carrying zip ties, duct tape, and a printed list of classroom numbers. He told police he'd been planning this for months. He'd been watching the school, knew the layout, knew the schedule. He wouldn't say what he was planning to do, only that he didn't get to finish. Security footage showed him trying 18 different classroom doors, 18 rooms full of terrified kids, listening to him on the other side. Rachel graduated the next year. She still gets anxious when she hears footsteps in hallways.